어? 다 떼우다가?
Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 921, directed by Yasunori Koyama from Hiroshi Hara's board, and supervised by Masahiro Kitazaki. Based off what we saw in the preview, it looks as if the introduction to Komurasaki is really going to be quite special. With the storyboard from Hiroshi Hara, a director who's worked on several anime and is best known for storyboarding episodes of the 1999 Hunter x Hunter series, looking massively stylish and impactful, which leads Koyama, who's one of the strongest regular directors and one of my personal favorites, to flex his eye-catching Komaki-like direction. And when a strong supervisor like Masahiro Kitazaki is heading the animation side of things, with his pronounced art and insane speed as an animator, this should be a very well done and memorable episode all in all. So will episode 921 follow up the solid looking preview with a fantastic introduction to this new character? Well, let's make way to find out. This episode covers the last two pages of chapter 927 and page 4 and pages 6 through 16 of chapter 928. And on the whole, it ended up being far more well-paced than I expected it to be. While the canon content is still slogged through a bit, it leaves a necessary amount of impact and breathing room for it. With the sudden cutaway from Udon before we see what happens after Caribou encounters Luffy being welcome because of that exact same reason, with them instead taking the time to adapt Caribou's cover story from the manga that explains just how he got into Wano, which the anime very rarely does nowadays. The addition of small filler also helps things out as well, because seeing Usopp and Frankie actually trying to stop the old men from going after Komurasaki, and what Bingo actually did to secure her, makes it feel like a more competently written story. While I feel like the actual reveal of her could have been a bit more impactful, and admittedly could have used a better shot as well, her fantastic voice coming from Nana Mizuki and just about everything else in the adaptation department this week makes me consider this a fairly good episode on that front. For an episode that builds up the reveal of a character with bated breath, Hiroshi Hara's board does very well with that in particular. The storyboard uses a lot of cool angles and compositions throughout it all to keep Komurasaki hidden in shadow and mysterious to the viewer before her face reveal, which is something that the manga did, but I feel like Hara cranks it up to 11 more often than not. And there's always some other really cool compositions when we're not focusing on her that helps build up to said reveal and just gives us something cool to look at. With Koyama expertly managing to execute this board onto the screen with realistic lighting when Bingo is meeting with Komurasaki, and fantastic compositing by bathing her walk through the town in an array of colors. While I feel like the cutaways to different locales could have been a bit better all in all, Hara's board was still pretty damn solid regardless. With Masahiro Kitazaki's rugged art that makes the characters look almost three-dimensional in terms of how their faces are constructed serving it as well, along with his tendency to animate a lot on his own episodes that does the little amount of action scenes justice, with good movement and simple but nice effects work. After the first few episodes of Act 2 were a bit half and half in terms of overall quality, episode 921 follows up the already good episode 920 with an even better episode. One that definitely impresses in spite of the usual pacing shackles through interesting adaptation and visuals. And speaking of interesting adaptation, it looks as if next week's episode 922 will house that quite a bit. The preview shows a fair bit of content that didn't happen in the original chapter, and makes it look like it'll be a primarily filler episode that will make one with little canon content feel more whole. We don't know the staff for it just yet, but what looks to be Masayuki Takagi's corrections all throughout alongside Matsuda Zoro is making me look forward to next week just a bit more. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and what is it with returning characters and becoming even more annoying to listen to?